All right, for those just tuning in, we just wrapped up our game between the UltraMarines. Kept saying Death Watch because they look like it.
They look a little like Death Watch.
A little. Into the Grey Knights. Final score, Grey Knights 77 to
UltraMarines.
UltraMarines 74. Not what I predicted at all. I thought you were going to do the damage. I thought I was going to run away with the scoreboard early. You were going to get the challenge cards all game long, and that was going to be that. Complete opposite thing. You ran away with the scoreboard early, and I got challenge cards all game long.
Yeah, I got challenge cards for round 2 because round 1 I scored 1 on secondaries thanks to Baby Engage, and then you had 7, so I was 6 behind. But then, yeah, the rest of the game you were just behind until the very last turn. So these challenge cards are going to be a massive game changer, I think, for competitive 40K. I understand the catch-up mechanic in like casual play, but this is just kind of, it punishes the person who's winning. I think it's kind of interesting mechanic to have with some limitations, like maybe capping it at 6 points you can earn or something. Like early game, it is kind of nice if you get a dead draw on secondaries turn 1 and your opponent gets a great pull. Well, then you can catch up a little bit. But yeah, it wasn't that big a swing because I scored 3 and you scored 9, so it was only a 6-point difference. More, yeah. But that was the game. We were within 6 points for the game. So yeah, it's an interesting mechanic, and the secondaries are all so easy. They're like, go out and poke your opponent. 3 points. Shoot at an opponent. 3 points.
Exist.
Yeah.
I mean, the two of the ones I scored were just like,
be somewhere.
Do you exist?
Anywhere.
Existing is worth points. Look at that. It's always good to exist.
Yeah.
But yeah, for those. And then the secondaries, the actual secondary switchover, I mean, a lot of those were easier too.
Yeah, scoring at the end of your turn for a lot of them makes it easier. You don't have to worry about your opponent counterplaying, which I kind of like the counterplay. I think it was another level of strategy, but it is what it is. Yeah, just having that more flexibility. I mean, Grey Knights obviously have that flexibility for scoring secondary, so they're going to score the challenge cards really well too.
Yeah, going second in this one, it really hurt me on the primary game. I wasn't able to get a primary game established very much with you. I knew that the Stern Guard were a big threat. The fact that you had the one squad being able to deep strike, and also I got it in my head until later into it, like I was saying, I was expecting, okay, you could pick up a squad and deep strike it down. Hindsight, now that I know that wasn't the case, might have played a little differently in the early goings of it, especially with the exaction squad. Probably would have ran them and just started moving them towards objectives and stuff and just said, haha, here I am. Mm-hmm. So that was a little bit of a misplay that cost me big time on the primaries. 0 on the first turn I could score, and then sitting on 5 and 5 until I got my big 15 on turn 5. So that definitely misread into that because I thought you had I was thinking Vanguard Marines and you were going to spend a command point, pick them up. But yeah, for me, that was a huge wall to try to get through with the 4-up Feel No Pain. Mm-hmm. Like dedicating 2 squads of purifiers at that one 10-man squad and still leaving a dude and librarian alive. That was tough. Yeah,
because your incinerators are not psychic weapons, but your
psi cannons
and the purifying flames, mm-hmm. and your attacks in close combat are all psychic too.
Yeah.
So
that's super slowed mm-hmm. me down in a lot of ways. So if I run into a librarian's conclave with 4-up Feel No Pain versus psychic attacks, that's going to be a rough matchup.
Yeah.
Typically, without that, I could peel Marines off the table. You know, mm-hmm. I'm not worried about that and concerned about that. So, but yeah, I think that misread and thinking that those guys are going to pick up and pop around on the field. They didn't. Okay. So I need to not stay as far back with that stuff. But secondary wise, still it's Grey Knights. You know, I think I was dropped 4 points on secondaries. I think it was somewhere around there. So did well in the secondary game, and the challenge cards, like, okay, I can just catch up at any point.
Yeah, they're just freebies. I mean, I imagine you can pull something where you wouldn't score it. I don't remember what mine was.
I mean, I had to think about one at one point in time.
Yeah, I was just like, make sure you're have 2 units attack one of my units, and if you do a single wound.
Oh, yours was if you destroy 2 models in do I think it might have been just do 2 wounds, two separate
different units. Yeah. I had to pick up models from 2 units, so I finished off the Land Raider and killed again.
Finished off Land Raider. That was one model.
Yeah, that's a model, 1 model. But it's still, it's just basic playing the game. So, but the real story, guys, who cares about the points? Who cares about the new chapter approved? Is that the Librarius Ultramarines did 86 dev wounds and mortal wounds combined. So to be clear, I counted dev wounds that went above and beyond killing a unit. So if you had 1 guy left and I did 6 dev wounds to him, I counted that as 6, even though he only would have 2 wounds left. So I was just counting the actual total damage output. But yeah, a pretty effective amount of damage, especially into like high save armies and that sort of thing. Interesting to see how it worked. And I missed out on a couple of things. Like the Brutalis came in and he was going to do impact mortals and I was going to tank shock with him, but he ended up failing his charge and then getting wiped in the next turn before he could do anything. So there were still some more opportunities out there, but I did tank shock with the repulsor. I did get a lot of dev wounds through with the on the Land Raider when I shot. I don't think I even needed the rerolls.
No, we just, yeah.
I spiked the 5-ups when I shot the Land Raider pretty hard. I definitely didn't need to spend the money, the CP on the psychic grenades, but yeah.
You never know. You never know.
But it's definitely like some play there in Librarius because like you had Crow standing there and he had 5 wounds, no feel, no pain. Well, I threw regular grenades and then threw the psychic grenades because you can do them both. Gone. Yeah, and just picked him up. He's a guy with a 2-up, 4-up, and he blanks the first failed save.
Blanks the first failed, yeah.
Right, yeah, but doesn't mortal wounds. You don't get a save.
I'm not saving it, so yeah, it goes right there.
And I think I did 7 anyways. I rolled pretty good on the. Yeah, I mean it was 12 dice, so 4-ups would be mortals. So, but yeah, I think it was fun. I think, like I said, I think there's play in the Librarius. This is kind of a cheeky list, just trying to do the max amount of devs, but I think there's some interesting play in Librarius. I think it still deserves some exploration. So.
I would actually, when we get the chance to, in some ways, I think I'd like to play World Eaters into it. The demon host, not having the psychic attacks, and because anti-psychers, we're not anti-psychers, but we hate psychers. So I think that could be interesting going into that. And then some other stuff too. You know, I've been looking at the new the AdMech after the shifts. It's weird because like what they did was really the only thing that happened. They gave Castle and Robots Doctrina, which didn't have before. So now they can fit into other detachments better. But now the detachment, the cybernetic cohort, the vehicle-based detachment, the hollow override one, that's a different story. But the cybernetic cohort, that was, oh, look, these guys get Doctrina. So now they get +2 move and +1 OC. Which at first I was like, wow, that's really, really lame. That's so basic. But even just being so basic like that, then you look at other stuff and go, oh, wait, there's a strat. Now I can go +3 move. So now I can take my robots that are 6-inch move and have an 11-inch move with them and then potentially charge with them. So there might be some play there with them. I've been looking at it a little more, but I haven't been playing AdMech a while, so I wasn't able to really mess with it. Maybe next week. Maybe next week we'll bring some Castle and Robots on here. And Lanegate got me 2 more robots just because you can never have enough Castle and Robots, right?
No such thing.
As far as this with Grey Knights, this was a little bit shaky as far as, I'm like, oh, this is great. This is my GT list. I think Grey Knights are going to do amazing into it. Little shaky. Haven't played Grey Knights for a while. I still feel very strong with this list. I still feel like everything hits really hard. The Purifier is still just, everything they're hitting, they're able to do damage into. And as we saw today, the big MVP, while Lane's dev wounds have a story in their own right to tell, the Brotherhood champion slays.
I picked up 500 points with the models.
Slayed Robot Gilliman.
Yeah, he picked up 325 points for Gilliman and 180 points for the Repulsor. So 500 points.
Thanos snapped him out of existence.
Yep.
Yeah, I gave him the Radiant Champion enhancement. So every time he does a wound, it's a mortal wound on top of it. And he's fighting a character, so he's rerolling hits and wounds. And so good shots there. We got 4 wounds right there. And then he failed the saves. So it went right through. I expected Gilliman to at least stand back up so I could do it again. But Gilliman was like, you know what?
He was sleepy.
He was like, you know what? I'm just going to go home and sleep this one off. We're done here. We're done today. And then comes over there and goes, man, I haven't beat up enough big stuff. Let's go wreck a tank while we're at it.
Yeah, take the last 6 wounds off a repulsor. Again, wounding on 6s, no rerolls, but you threw a couple 6s, and I failed both saves, and it generated 2 mortals, so perfectly enough to take the last 6 wounds off of it.
Yeah, initially my plan was I was going to try to get in there with the let the purifiers do it, having the reroll wounds and the +1 to wound and all that jazz, and have them go in and do it. I figured that would be where it's at, but then when I failed the battle shock, I was like, okay, now what do I do?
Yeah.
Now how do we do this now? So good thing there. I mean, the cards, I see this is our first time running it. I don't think either one of us necessarily had bad secondary cards. You're gonna draw cards that every once in a while. It's like, what do I do here? I think my CP management was bad. I think there was probably some strats and some stuff that I should have maybe possibly not done and had CP for other things to be able to shift out maybe the secondary here or there. Storm hostile objective. Typically, you were in an excellent position to stop me from storm hostile objective. I don't think that should be something I'm super concerned about. Where you were all bunched up on one objective. That's like I can't take that from you.
Mm-hmm.
And you didn't have anything that was sticky objectives too, which is something that Marines like to do. So I couldn't just go, okay, pop, I'm going to take this. So just some bad timing on that, but that's going to happen with secondaries. And I think it was kind of the same margin for you too. You had some secondaries that are like, okay, this is perfect. And then there's a couple that's like, oh, I really got to work for this, or I should just shuffle it out. So secondaries, first run through. I mean, it's our first shuffle, so you can't really say too much. Got to shuffle up and do it again. But the challenge cards were definitely tell the tale right now.
Yeah, they're going to be game defining. And that's, one of the things, like with my Death Watch, I usually don't score primary as well early on because I'm usually staying back from my opponent trying to shoot them. And with your Grey Knights, whenever I play against your Grey Knights, oftentimes you're not scoring primary well early because you're upping and downing and you can't really get on the objectives if I'm out on there blocking out your deep strikes. But this definitely, the challenge cards definitely reward you if you are playing you're not scoring as many points early on in the game. It definitely punishes you if you are, because I was winning the game, which is what I'm supposed to do, but it just kept giving DJ points or opportunities to use a free strat here or there. Hilariously, there's a free grenade card. I think I had that. I didn't even use it. But if I had used it, I could have used that free thing. It's not grenades. It's called something else. So you could use that plus grenades, plus my psychic grenades. Throw 18 dice and 4-ups or mortals. That would have been hilarious.
That would have been disgusting.
No, I mean, there's neat secondaries on there, but just free points that don't count against your primaries or secondaries, which just makes it so valuable.
Yeah, I think that the stratagem part of it, you're going to use that more when you're like in a game-breaking moment where you're like, okay, I'm going to do this because now I can completely sweep my opponent and then just score out for the rest of the game.
Yeah, if it scores you more than 3 points, or if it's going to score you primary by using it by taking an objective or something, that'll be relevant. But just the 3 points for just the most basic things, basic aspects of playing the game, is pretty sweet. Yeah,
I definitely feel like I should have. I needed to. You blanked me on one turn, which is 5 points. I shouldn't have lost. Not saying that you did it right. I should have done something else into it. Deployment. I mean, I can't really say much in deployment because we kind of went into corners anyways. So it's tough to say. I'm gonna have to look back at it a little more and to see if there was anything I could have done to get that second. Objective marker, to get that 10 points a little bit earlier than I did. There probably was some later turns that there was some stuff I could have done to get that second objective marker that I didn't do. When I brought the what were they? The purifiers down with Crow, I might have been able to tag the one in the objective in the building. So there might have been something there. But yeah, that's not the home field objective, not scoring anything. That hurts for me. Especially with this armor, it's like, okay, I was able to get on that one. But yeah, definitely got to watch with that. I got to watch my primary game a little bit more onto some of this stuff. So all in all, though, it's a great night win. I'll take it. All right, guys, that's a wrap. As always, thanks for watching. and we'll talk to you again soon.